legend, Steve Podborski. Hello, young man.
I love you. How you doing?
Thanks, you're welcome. Good to see you again.
It's good to be seen. You know?
So I saw you at the Banff kickoff for the Sochi games. You're the chef de mission.
The team leader, the big kahuna.
Okay, and I'm sure every country has this, but the reaction that we get for our athletes, I think because Canadians, maybe it's like that moment when, you know, hey, we're always going to be the underdog, but we actually think we can win, right?
That's true.
Which is different. What was it like for you seeing it from
we had, when back in my day, we were very much the underdog, and we hoped we could win. Yeah. When we went in Banff just a few weeks ago, it was, you know what, let's just win. Right. Let's be the best. It was fantastic.
So before we get back into your career, I'm curious what the job entails.
Well, primarily the athletes of the national sport federations run their teams. But every 4 years, you end up going to the Olympics. They're not like anything you've ever done before. Right. So if you're a rookie athlete, a rookie coach, a rookie team leader, the guy who runs this federation may have never gone to the games. The COC does them every 2 years. Right. So I'm the interface between all those people and the COC, that faceless bureaucracy of what they are. What do? They run the games, and they're really good at it. They want to be as good at games as the athletes are at their sport, so we can be #1, and that's our goal. Beat everybody. Simple. The other part I do is the hard part, is when, the French judge, for example, decides they're going to mess with the rules and the points, and Slay and Pelletier don't get their medal. The chef goes into the IOC and says, come on, man, set them up. And guess what they do? They get the gold medal.
You did that. Or no, that department does that.
My team.
Yeah.
The chef de mission from that game's right in there.
But that's a serious gig, man.
Totally.
That's where it's not figurehead stuff. You're going in there to lay down the hammer.
Yeah. And that's what we do. You represent Canada. You stand up with the IOC and you represent.
Are you probably the toughest guy then who will ever be the chef de mission?
I might be the meanest.
You got an edge for sure, right?
Hey, like, don't mess with my team. Come on, George.
I'm very excited this year about it's not just this year it's happened, but the inclusion of the X Games culture in the Olympics, and Canadian Mark McMorris, of course, and others. And we know what Sarah brought to this team.
There's some great,
right? Yeah. And one thing I thought about with them was, not since you and the Crazy Canucks has there been that kind of flash that's come along with the competition. Do you feel like that's the extension of what you guys were trying to do?
In some ways, I'd say yes, but I'd say the flash is allowed to happen now.
Right, it was different back then, right?
Yeah, it was really hard to be kind of like wishing to be #1, because when you are standing there posed at the top of the mountain with a very thin suit on.
But didn't Ken even get disqualified for a suit?
Yeah.
Like, you guys, Ken Reed, you guys were pushing this, weren't you?
Yeah. You know, you have to find where the edge is and then step back from it.
Yeah.
You know about that, don't you? Everybody's good.
First of all, yes. Second of all, how do you know that? but was that important? Because at the time, Canadian athletes weren't really on the forefront of that.
Yeah, you can't. It's really hard when you have. If I remember clearly coming back one summer or one winter, and I was on the subway. It was Christmas time, and I was riding into downtown, and a gang of kids, like 12-year-olds, very dangerous, got on, and they said, "What the hell are you doing here?" I go, "What are you talking about? You should be in a limousine." If people expect things, then it gets forced upon you, and it's really hard to not be what people expect all the time. Right. So they didn't expect Canadians to be #1. We chose to be the best.
Right.
Now, people celebrate it. They want our guys to be the best.
One of my favorite things about your story is there was a sporting event which was sponsored by Tobacco Company.
Yeah, the national championship.
Right. Do we have a clip? We have a clip of that, I think?
Oh my gosh.
So far, one racer has already said he won't ski through a gate that has the McDonald's logo on it. He doesn't believe in smoking.
Well, I've already written a letter to the Canadian Ski Association saying that I wouldn't be associated with any promotion of smoking or cigarettes or tobacco of any kind, and they accepted that position.
Right?
There was a line there, George.
Yes.
And I wasn't going to go over it.
And you raced, and you won.
And I won. But the unintended consequence was that I received more fan mail from this than my entire career as a ski racer for that one thing.
For taking a stand.
Yeah.
Well, see, the reason I bring this up is because I watch a lot of sports, obviously, and I watched a lot of hockey, and I remember watching the World Juniors. And I understand the complexities of funding and all that, but I thought, holy smokes, if kids consumed the kinds of products that pro athletes and to a degree, Olympic athletes market to them in the commercials, we'll never win another medal.
Well, I know there are a whole bunch of slippery slopes. Oh, that one was just so clear to me that I just said that's where I stop.
Do you remember how young you were when did you meet like an athletic superstar?
So I was 10.
Yeah.
And we were on, they started this thing called the Nancy Greene Little League. And Nancy Greene, in 1968, you can do the math, ended up winning the gold and silver medal and had a ticker tape parade up Bay Street. And the Nancy Greene Little League team that won that year, our team, was in the parade with her. Talk about a formative moment.
Right.
Alpine skiers get ticker tape parades.
Right.
I'm in. It was awesome. Oh, you got it. You know, Nancy's good.
There's the picture.
Yeah, that's me. And there's Nancy.
Is that City Hall in the background in Toronto?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. You know what?
Did she say anything to you? Do you remember the interaction?
Not in this particular case. Nancy has continued to be a part of my life, both privately and publicly. She's an amazing woman, a great representative for sport, and she said many really, really pertinent things to me. I listened to her.
It's kind of an interesting training, too, for you, because now you get to pass that on.
In many ways, she was a great role model, certainly. Yeah.
So many folks want their kids to be healthy, and when their kids tell them, you know what, I'm going to pursue at the highest level a sport that is so incredibly dangerous. And there are parents watching now whose kids are about to have that conversation with them.
Good.
What was that like with yours?
Well, it wasn't too bad. I mean, you start off, as you do in a Nancy, in a Little League, when they, little kids skiing down the hill. It's fantastic, and that means your parents can go and ski too, instead of watching you. So it's a very positive experience. But when you watch, your son fall and rip his knee apart and have to go in for surgery like my mom did with my brother, and ultimately with me as well, that can be tough. But you know what, George, you have to try. You can't have a life safe. Maybe it's safe physically, but you take risks. You guys take risks all the time. Yeah. It's dangerous driving to the studio, for crying out loud. So what risk is okay and what risk isn't? Try to be the best. Make yourself, make your country, make your family proud.
Why is that part important, the being the best part?
Well, because that's, what else? Let's measure. Let's play. Yeah. Right? Well, people ask me, why is the Canadian team striving for the #1 in the medal count when it's pretty clear that that won't happen? Because it's really better than striving for mediocrity. Right. It's just really no fun to be kind of okay.
And also, it is sports, so sports is about winning.
It's really simple, And the good thing about alpine skiing, for example, is it's timed. I love that. But, when we have to count the medals up, it's pretty clear, too.
How do you turn the competitive thing off? Can you? So
that's a problem. Yeah, I mean, you should see me drive, People with me are like, okay. But I've got it more under control than it used to be. Yeah. Oh, come on.
In a board meeting at your new job, you're just hammering on people?
They're asking me why, sometimes I talk to everybody in a fairly genuine manner. And I tend to manage up rather well in that case.
So coming out of the Olympics in Russia, we hope it's a Patrick Chan victory, lots of victories. Yes. But a figure skating medal would be great. A couple of hockey medals would be great.
Very well, yeah.
Would be great. And Mark McMorris, some skiing medals, right?
Yep.
All the sports.
Everybody.
But what's interesting, Vancouver, you didn't hear a lot about doping.
No.
It was different, conversation.
Yeah.
Do we expect it to be a clean games?
I'd say primarily, yes. Yeah. The games of ice and snow tend to be more of, primarily they're skill sports. Yeah. They're also very dangerous. Summer games. Winter games.
Well, what are you doing? I'm running? Yeah. Okay. For how long? For an hour? Yeah. Interesting.
10 seconds. Wow.
So
honestly, sorry, I threw you off there.
No, because everybody goes, if you win the 100-meter dash, you're the fastest man in the world. It's like, it's 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds.
It's good, though. Yeah, it's incredible. It's not very dangerous.
Stick around. More with Steve Podborski after this.
So it's two skiers together. Steve Podborski, come on. Well, once again, it wasn't quite right on the day for you.
No, not so far, but I think our team, Team Panda, has a great chance of moving ahead soon.
Let me ask the Duchess of York. Were you pleased with that performance, ma'am? Were you pleased?
Oh, yeah, it's brilliant.
What the hell is Grand Knockout?
Knockout tournament, it was really fun.
Was it?
So they're raising money, and they phoned me up, and I was up on the top of Whistler, and said, can you come over? I'm like, sure. So the fun part about this is, my agent came over. And it turns out that one of the athletes didn't turn up. So the prince asked my buddy if he would pretend to be an athlete. So he decided he would be a musher who had gone in the Iditarod. Amazing. And he comes from Queens, New York, right? So he's pulling it off, and he's going to all the dinners, and he's signing his autograph, a little paw print. We're having tea with Krista Berg and Meatloaf.
Did
Sounds
Meatloaf
odd.
order the meatloaf?
No.
Did you sing Lady in Red to Krista Berg?
He sang it.
He sang it?
Yeah, later on in the pub.
Amazing.
But we're chatting away, and then somebody asked my buddy if he's ever been in a snowmobile as part of a broader conversation. And he says, no. Well, Meatloaf, walking down the hall, he's a big guy, gets my buddy by the throat. He's up with the straight arm. Who are you? What are you doing? You the bobsled guy, or the dog sled guy, never, you know. I did it for the prince.
Life is
Jane
weird.
Seymour was living next door. She helped me tie my bow tie. I had a great time.
Yeah. That's a good life, man.
Yeah.
As
in the grand
important
scheme.
as this character is, the chef de mission, they couldn't be luckier to have you, man.
Oh, thank you.
What a pleasure.
George, thank you.
Thank you so much. Chef de mission of the 2014 Olympic Winter Games in Sochi, February 6th, when they start right here on CBC. Mr. Steve Podborski, we'll be right back.